If you find adventure at the click of a button, or from the turn of a page, or the casting of a die, join your hosts, Coniff and Shiloh, on an unforgettable journey. Questing the Multiverse. Welcome, listener, to episode 19, or in your language, 19. I guess in just English, not
in your language,
not weird.
In your language.
Okay, Shiloh, question then.
Yes.
If you were, honest to God, abducted by an alien, so you're driving home from your work.
Yeah.
And I know that this wouldn't exactly apply, but you take the scenic route through a country road because you're bored. Obviously, doesn't apply.
Yeah, it doesn't apply.
And on your way, you see something in the road. And so you stop the car and you do what every horror character shouldn't do, which is then get out of the car to investigate.
Yeah.
You do these things. You get abducted by an alien and then returned like, I don't know, 10 minutes later or something, however long it takes for them to do whatever they do. How would you go about your life after that? And who would you tell?
God, that's a good question.
Like, what's your first instinct? You get brought back onto the side of the road. Your car is still there. You get back in your car. You check your phone or whatever. And it's like, okay, I just lost 15 minutes to these aliens. Mm-hmm. What do you do?
If I were smart, I think the first thing I would do would be find an agent.
Like an FBI agent?
No. Like an agent that, like a talent agent or something that could book me gigs and try to figure out how to milk the most money out of the situation as I could. Basically,
15 minutes in heaven. I mean, aliens.
Gigs, movie scripts, TV shows. See what we could pull out of this unfortunate or fortunate, I don't know, incident, and see what kind of money I can make before I went to the police or the FBI or whoever the hell you call for that thing. You can't call 911. They would just laugh at you, I would think. So
we'll send a squad out.
I would do all that, and then I'd probably talk to my mom and dad. Or maybe I'd tell them first. I don't know. They'd probably think I was crazy or that I was drinking again or something.
Oh, no. We wouldn't want that,
Yeah, that's the biggest problem. It's like, oh,
Chris is hitting the bottle again.
Yeah, something's going amiss.
That's great.
So yeah, that way it would be like, well, no, I got this under control. I got an agent. We're making some dough. I got a screenplay in the works by Chris Carter from X-Files. Yeah, so we got all this down. So
that's a solid answer. That's a solid icebreaker. So, what have you been up to aside from not getting abducted by aliens?
Game wise, well, God, it's been 2 weeks. So
it has, yes.
Yeah. Had a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah. How was your Thanksgiving? Great.
Full of thanks.
Yeah.
And giving. No, not so much giving. Yeah, it was good. Game-wise, I've been primarily playing Guild Wars 2, and I don't know. I think, God, it hasn't been so long, but
feels like
we used to just do this bi-monthly, but it feels like it's been forever. I recently acquired, well, not recently, about a week or two ago, the Chupa and Chumpalot bow,
nice.
Short bow, legendary short bow in Guild Wars 2. So yeah, that was a lot of work. It was one of those things, if you've ever played Guild Wars 2, you run into a situation where you're like, oh crap, I gotta do that. So I go do World versus World. Oh no, I have to buy this Itzel lore thing and I can't buy it because I need more mastery points. So I had to do all of that. And then, it's one thing after another. And the gold cost of materials and things that you need is almost secondary compared to what all you need, because you can just buy some gold if you need it, or you can kind of finagle ways to figure out how to make some gold. So, but yeah, I got that, and it's been a lot of fun running around in my Azura Revenant and doing some stuff, trying to finishing up some mastery points and Omnitas, for Secrets of the Obscure, and mostly going to work my way through. But I also started playing WoW.
This is what I was waiting for.
Yeah, so I rolled up a Blood Elf. Actually, I rolled up a Goblin Rogue with our friend Weevil.
Yep.
To start out on the Horde side, because I hadn't done any of that before. And then quickly decided, you know what, I think I'm going to switch it up. And I rolled up Blood Elf Rogue and leveled her up all the way up to 40.
Okay.
And through the Battle for Azeroth campaign, which was a lot of fun,
Which
because
would have been Horde, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was on the Horde side this time.
I really like that zone, those zones. To be fair, I never saw the Horde side. Like it has been taking willpower to not play World of Warcraft because I do, like, it's the only MMO that I really love the leveling in. And what you're doing, like what you did and what you were telling me, before this episode, sounds like a lot of fun. Like actually seeing that part of the game. So
yeah, it was fun, and it's completely different. It's all troll themed, I suppose, and so there's lots of dinosaurs and pyramids, and there's runs with blood trolls and some of these what they call Loas, I think, or kind of their spirit gods or something like that. But anyway,
gotcha.
Long story short is I got to 40 and then quickly figured out how to get the race changes, which are a lot easier now. All you basically do is you don't have to go through an entire campaign like I had to do for the Void Elf, on like basically do the entire Legion story on another character. All you had to do was go and talk to the little NPCs there, and they kind of send you on a quest. And it's a little side quest. It takes a couple hours, I suppose. But I unlocked the Volpera, so now my character is a maxed out Volpera rogue, and been working through stuff in the Emerald Isle. I kind of skipped a lot of the Dragonflight stuff once I got to 70. I was like, well,
you already
I've
did it
seen
on
all
another
this.
tune, didn't you?
Yeah. So I'd unlocked the dragon stuff. I don't have anything maxed out over there, but quickly figured out that, well, if I want the highest end gear, which I don't really know if I'm going to be doing a whole lot of stuff on the character, but I figured, well, I might as well go there because I hadn't seen that area yet. It's really pretty and it's been fun. But other than that, I bought Horizon Zero Dawn.
Okay.
It was on sale for Steam for $12.
All of it too, like expansions included, I think.
Yeah, complete edition, and it's been really good. I need to get back into that because it's a really, really good single player RPG from what I can tell so far. I've enjoyed the first hour or two that I've played of that, and other than that, that's really about it. I did pop into Destiny because I wanted to see the Last Wish, or what are they calling it, the Season of the Wish, and I went through the beginning sequence, and then I got to the first activity, and the first activity is just, there's a ton of traps and stuff, and I'm like, really, this is not a good time to throw in a bunch of traps in a seasonal activity where people are just going to constantly die and
gonna grind it out.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, eventually people are going to learn, or I would learn, but I just kind of was like, nah, I'm done. But I have heard that the new dungeon was
Something
released
of Ruin, right?
Friday.
No, that's
I don't
Warden
know
of
the name.
Ruin? Or is that the new WoW expansion that's going on? I don't know.
But
so
evidently it's being hailed as one of the best Destiny dungeons in the game that's ever been released. So that made my ears pop up a little bit. But yeah. But anyway, that's really about it. What about you? How was your Thanksgiving? And
My Thanksgiving was chaos. The cap on all of it was we had to leave a day early because of snow in Kansas that was scheduled or whatever going to come down, predicted to come down. And so we ended up leaving and driving from like 3 p.m. all the way through home to at 4 a.m. with young kids. Not fun. But we did it, and we're like, and I checked the because you can check like the Kansas CanDOT, whatever they call it, Department of Transportation. In Missouri, it's MoDOT, and I remember in Indiana it was like INDOT, IDOT, whatever.
Idiot,
yeah, because that's how they drive up there in Indiana.
In Tennessee, it's TDOT, which is
so
just as bad.
I checked the CanDOT website, and when we were leaving, and like none of the highways had like a snow warning or anything. I check after we do the whole drive, and there was like a good hour of the drive, maybe like 45 minutes of the drive that was like heavy snow coming down, and this is in the pitch black, so that wasn't fun. But the next day I woke up and I checked, and the entire like western side of Kansas was like purple, which is like snow on the highway. So I was like, well, you know what? Made the right decision, even though I hated that drive, at the middle of the night. But
you would have hated it a lot worse in the middle of the night.
Oh, because it would have taken like 16 hours.
Black ice.
Oh, yeah. I think I hit black ice twice, even the day before, but it was like tiny little strips of it that were because they form like under bridges, and so I could feel it like I'm going like 65 70 when it wasn't snowing, and I feel like the car, like I'm like, yep, my steering wheel would do nothing right now. Like that's just pure ice. But of course it ends really quick because it wasn't like a long stretch of it. So that's Thanksgiving. So as far as video games go, I have basically played like 4 different games. Final Fantasy 14. I am currently leveling a rogue up to, ironic that you were leveling a rogue in WoW, and I've been working on the rogue job in Final Fantasy 14. I think it's like 28 or something now. Like I'm almost to ninja, and the goal is to get that up to around 40, which is where my monk and black mage are, and then continue the main story quest. That's kind of what I'm doing there. I've been playing Risk of Rain 2, which is a roguelite game. Ton of fun. It's something that Weevil and Tempest and I will play together, or just 2 of us, whoever's on. And then Crab Champions, which is a roguelike game again, but with crabs with guns. So Tempest and I did a run yesterday. I was a crab with a minigun. We did another one. I was a crab with an auto shotgun. Great stuff. You just literally are a crab shooting other crabs and other insects and flying skulls through various islands. It's as dumb and fun as it sounds, honestly. So, and then the last game is Fortnite, because the OG Battle Pass had been going on for like the last month. And that was a return to the map that existed in 2018 when the game was like huge and, first blowing up. And so between those 4, that's been all of my video game playing, I guess. I I don't think there's anything else. I'm like adding a ton of stuff to my I need to play this in 2024 list that's like in my Steam library. One of those it was on sale was Bramble of the Mountain King, which I think you heard about, but it's like I don't know if it's like a platformer or like just like a 2D side scroller style game, but with like really cool graphics, and kind of set in like Norse mythology, whatever. With it came some game where you play as a fox, and so I was going to tell you about it and then I forgot, but here you go. Some game out of fox. That's on the list. I was just talking with Tempest about this. I don't remember what the game was. I do know I want to play Kingdom Come Deliverance in 2024. Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty is probably going to be a 2024 game. There's something else. I don't know. Whatever. But I have a hot take for you, Shiloh. I do not have a fun sound effect, except maybe because that's probably what you're going to do when I when I say this hot take. But here's the thing. I'm going to say this hot take, and I'm going to unpack it for you, and then I want to hear your thoughts, and you're free to interject throughout. So my hot take is this. Fortnite is the modern MMO. Now, listener, you got to stick with me because I there is some explanation I have to do, but that's the hot take. Fortnite is the modern MMO. So to kick this off, I want to say, right now, Shiloh, the future of the old way of MMOs largely rests on the shoulders of World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV, I would say Elder Scrolls Online, and then Guild Wars 2. Maybe SWTOR you could throw in there, but as far as like the big four that are getting updates and kind of hitting the limelight would be those four. Would you agree, disagree?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And so then if we look at like the games that, and so that's MMO like as we understand it, right? As, from 1990, whenever the first Ultima was, all the way to, New World, which is arguably that's the most recent MMO, right? I think that's actually launched. Okay. Yeah. So the MMO during this whole era, like the, late 90s, I would say up to like 2015, 16-ish, has been these type of games. WoW's the king of it. You've got other games like RuneScape that have existed in there. Final Fantasy XIV is probably the second most popular MMO. But we look at the next, you look at the future. We look at the next era. What is there? There's the Ashes of Creation. Why did I say the? Ashes of Creation.
Getting old.
PAX Day, which we've talked about, and whenever that comes out, we're definitely going to be playing that and talking about it. But the Lord of the Rings MMO, right? And then aside from those three, we know of the Riot MMO and the Ghost Crawler MMO that we talked about maybe last episode, an episode before that, whatever. So that's all we know. And of all of those, the one that does resemble the MMO genre that we know it the best is likely going to be Ashes of Creation. And that's probably simply because we know the most about it. Like there's actually information.
Yeah.
So, and then, New World too. But New World, since it's already released, like it's obvious like that the way it progresses and the way like they build upon it is likely going to follow suit with WoW and Final Fantasy XIV, all those. Okay. So that's kind of where people like us, our age, where we land with the topic of MMOs, right? So here's the problem. Kids don't care about MMOs. Back in 2004, I was a kid. I cared about MMOs because I couldn't just hop online on a Zoom call like we're doing right now or Discord and talk with my friends. I had to pick up the landline, and I'm sure that most people that listen to this know all of this stuff, but if there's some younger people out there that are listening, like, we did have phones in our house that were connected to the house that nobody owned. It's probably, goes without saying, but I had to pick up the landline and call, and only call after like 7 p.m. so it was free, or that might have been cell phones. I don't know. Back in my day. And you could probably, give another anecdote that's even like, well, back in my day, we had to tap two rocks together and then throw them at the wall, and it was Morse code. No. Yeah. So kids don't care about MMOs. I've talked with Stark, and his son has tried, his oldest even, has tried, maybe some WoW, maybe some Guild Wars 2. It just doesn't stick, And so they don't care about World of Warcraft. Like, I'm pretty sure that it's like that ancient game to them, right? Like, sure, like, WoW looks cool. And like, for a new player, if you hop in, the experience is pretty overwhelming at first. But if you just stick with like Dragonflight, like they've obviously added a ton of quality of life stuff to get you where you're going. But the problem again is that kids don't care about this, and new players that never grew up with MMOs like we did are going to have a really hard time hopping into any of these because there's so much content. And these kids want, quick gratification. They don't want a game that's maybe slow paced where they have to grind for hours upon hours. So enter Fortnite in 2018. So Fortnite comes out. It was originally going to be Save the World only. In fact, it was like the beta back in 2017. I remember getting my copy that someone had gifted to me, like a code for, in the summer of 2017. The only thing you could do was save the world, and I didn't understand it one bit, and I shelved it and didn't play it for like the next half year. So of course and this is all old news to anyone listening. Like, the Battle Royale comes out late 2017. It blows up in between then and basically May of 2018. And May of 2018 was the start of Chapter 4 or Season 4. I don't know. I guess they go by seasons and then chapters, whatever. So that happens, and just the rest is history. At that point, though, Fortnite was only two things: Battle Royale, and then I think at some point Save the World got officially launched and you could go play it. So two different ways of playing this game, right? And if you're not a shooter, so you've played Fortnite once or twice, right? And did you do the Save the World? Like, do you know what I'm talking about with that?
Yeah,
as opposed to Battle Royale?
Briefly with my brother.
Yes.
And that was in the Save the World stuff, and it was fun for a little bit, and then just kind of fell off.
So here we are, right? Like, it blows up. Streamers that stream Fortnite are household names, which is just mind-boggling that that's even a thing. And everyone that I knew was playing it or had played it or had it even installed. Like, oh yeah, like, I'll go play a round or two or something. So that was 2018. You fast forward to now, and a lot has changed. Since then, they've added live event after live event. So each time they want to change the story or change the map, they do an in-game live event that while you're playing, you can be a part of and see. So one of those was when this giant monster came out of the ocean on the north side of the map, and then a giant robot rose out of a volcano, and they would fight. They were like these two giant entities are just fighting across the map while you're there playing the game normal. So that was neat. On more little things like Christmas of 2018, the entire map was covered in snow for Christmas on Christmas Day. New Year's from 2018 to 2019, they would put like whatever, the crystal ball, not the crystal ball, the disco ball, whatever it is in the sky.
The apple.
Yeah. They just put
Like
New
New
York in the game.
Hey.
And it would count down. And then when the New Year's happened, there were fireworks and stuff all over the map. And in fact, I was playing Fortnite, December 31st, 2018. I started a match in 2018 and I ended the match in 2019 and I won that match, in fact. So just fun stuff like that. But then it grew. They added live concerts. So the first one that they ever did was a Marshmello concert, which is some EDM DJ guy. But then they've done like Ariana Grande, Travis Scott. There's many others. But they most recently, with this new OG, this literally was like this past weekend, they had like a mini Eminem concert in there. So they just like, we're talking all these huge labels or huge entities and artists and IPs that are getting added into this game. So it's attracting the kids' attention. If they want to play a game as a Star Wars character, they can. If they want to play a game as a Marvel character, they can. If they want to play as an anime from their favorite anime, they can. All sorts of stuff. DC, Marvel, even Family Guy, Rick and Morty. Witcher has a crossover in there. Arcane has a crossover. In fact, whenever the Jinx skin comes back, I'm going to buy it. So all of this stuff, right? And it's like, and that's simply like the power that Epic has behind the brand. But that doesn't really explain why I think it is the modern MMO. Where this comes in is with creative mode and the Unreal Engine for Fortnite, or UEFN. And what that is, and it started with creative, but like you could go into this game, you would have all the assets, you could come up with your own like island is what they called it, and build your own map with your own rules, and then put it out there and people could play it. With Unreal Engine for Fortnite, it's basically that times 10, leveraging Unreal Engine's power into the Fortnite game code and whatever, and coming up with more complex stuff. An example of this would be, I just played with Tempest a Squid Game. So Squid Game, very popular Netflix show, Korean show, very not kid friendly. And the irony on this is that it is rated 10 plus. So there's some like cosmetic stuff you can't use because it's too like violent. And I'm like, well, we're literally playing Squid Game. And of course, like there's no blood. There's never been any blood in Fortnite. But the concept, I'm just like, this is kind of like, this is like, shooting a porno, but there's no nudity, like that's kind of like Squid Game is like one of the most violent TV shows.
Now try Saw mode.
Yeah. So, and this is all not new necessarily to the gaming world. Like back in like 2009, when I was in Counter-Strike Source, there was a ton of people like had access to the Source engine. Like it was open. And so you could just build all sorts of game modes and game types like jailbreak, zombie escape. There was maps created in the theme of Saw that were like obstacle courses you had to get through. So this type of stuff gamers have been doing probably even since Unreal Tournament and, longer even before that. I mean, gaming itself is just a giant, modding community at the end of the day. And so all of this now has created this entity where you load up Fortnite, you join a lobby, you can have up to 16 friends in a lobby and, 4 for like the battle royale, and others have like player limits and stuff, but you could do all these things. Squid Game, battle royale, there's all these player made I guess game types, game modes, whatever. There's one we played with Jibs and Weevil back in the summer that was basically like tower defense, where you had 3 islands and players were defending them, and you had to go and destroy the other islands, like mascot, something like statue or something, all the while defending yours. So there's all this type of stuff Well, as of this weekend, they announced Fortnite Lego, which is a survival crafting game inside Fortnite. They teased Rocket Racing, which is basically like Mario Kart but Fortnite. Then they teased Fortnite Festival, which is basically Guitar Hero in Fortnite. Like all these separate game modes that you can play. And so I'm thinking about all this, Shiloh, and I'm looking and I'm like, the kids want to play this. This is quite literally, I mean, a battle royale is 100 players. This is quite literally a massive multiplayer online game. It just doesn't have the RPG element. But it's an MMO, and this is the future of MMOs because this is what kids are going to buy into. Remember what we talked about with Ghostcrawler's game? His idea was there would be a hub world, and then you could go to like these realms or floating islands, whatever they're called, with your friends, and those would be more survival crafting areas. But then there would be like maybe traditional zones. But then think about Remnant 2. Remnant 2, though it's, you know, it's not an MMO by any stretch of the imagination, but the way they've built it, you've got this hub world. You can go then to all these different worlds, and there's all these PvE, you know, narratives that you can go through on those with their own bosses, enemies, locations. Destiny 2, same thing. And they've been calling it an MMO for its entire life. So I'm looking at all this and I'm like, this is the modern MMO. Fortnite is the modern MMO because it's the game that kids and the younger generation are going to play. And it's massive multiplayer online. So that's very long-winded, but that's my hot take. Thoughts? Rebuttal? What do you think?
I mean, it's hard to argue with that. I don't know if you can necessarily call it a true MMORPG. I mean,
no, I don't think so either.
But I think this is basically what Second Life. This is basically what Zuckerberg's stupid meta thing that he was trying to pull off.
This is like a successful version of that.
Yeah, this is basically what that is. I don't see anything wrong with it. It doesn't appeal to me at all. I mean, I'm almost 50, so
yeah,
you know, I'll just sit in my old man's chair and play more classic MMOs. I'm kind of in that MMO rut, and I think a lot of MMO players are, where we've been playing the same basic four, the Fab Four, or
variations of that.
You know, a New World here, and some Tor here, and some different.
We need to have our Star Wars: The Old Republic arc, Shiloh, at some point. Maybe that's a 2024 thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And some Lord of the Rings online here, and
I want to play that.
My old games of yore, Asheron's Call and EverQuest 2, and the original EverQuest and Age of Conan, and the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
But I will probably lean towards those, obviously, more than something like this. But I think that something like this is basically a replacement and a much more refined, obviously successful version of Second Life. Obviously a much more refined and way more successful version of Meta.
Way better looking too.
Yeah. Oh. But there's been some other attempts at stuff like this that have just not. I think Sony Online Entertainment had one. I can't remember the name of it. It was something similar to this, but it just never really took off. But I tried that, and it was entertaining, but more aimed for kids. And I think that the next level of MMOs need to have something different brought to the table. I think that's generally the consensus of most MMO players. Like, we're kind of tired of playing the same old MMO.
Yeah, but that's the problem, though, is because, like, you look back, like, nostalgia is a really hard thing to sort of rein in or become the master of.
Well, I don't want the nostalgia factor at all.
Sure.
I mean, if you look at the past two, in fact, I looked at the past since 2014. I looked at the list of Game of the Award nominees. None of them have been MMOs, obviously, but most of them have been RPGs. Starting in 2014, I think was Dragon Age Inquisition, and then The Witcher 3, the Zelda game won. We've had last year Elden Ring won, and then this year. We'll talk about that in a minute, but we think we have an idea of who's going to win that. And there have been, I think Spider-Man. No, did Spider-Man 2 win one? I don't know. God of War won. There have been some action, single player action, like God of War. I think won. Resident Evil 4. I think the original one. I think. So I don't think that MMOs are going to go away as we know them.
No, because people like us are still paying for them.
Yeah, and the kids may not like them now, but kids are kids, and kids are very flighty, as you know, as I can remember me being flighty, and they change year to year. Also, kids, when they generally, at least when I was a teenager, they go off to college and they kind of forget about video games for a while because there's girls and there's booze and probably drugs and hopefully there's studying at some point. Remember, kids, always study.
Don't do drugs.
Don't do any of that other stuff that I just mentioned because you'll end up like this guy. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's and so it's hard to say. Like the kids could come back. And, I don't know, like, is Fortnite a trend? Well, probably not. I mean, it's 7 years old.
I would have said it was a trend, a few years ago because I was like, I mean, it
as
had
long
its
as they
heyday.
can keep up with, and that's probably why there are so many different little things going on. Like, they have to kind of keep up with the Joneses. You always have to update and keep it fresh for the newer generations or for the existing older players that are becoming, 7 years. So some kid when he was 10 that was started to play is already at 17 years old now. And, things change between 10 and 17, believe me.
Yeah. And Fortnite's struggle is going to be the lack of singular identity. But I think that could also be just our, older opinion on the matter. Like what we look for is something that owns its identity in the game. So that was one of my biggest complaints with New World on launch, is that it looked pretty, it was fun to play, but like the world's identity and the characters were just nothing to me.
Fell a little flat.
Yeah, fell flat.
I think that they've done a better job with that, but it's nowhere compared to already established IPs or IPs that have had years and years and years to cook.
Yeah.
Like Guild Wars, like WoW, obviously, and then existing IPs like Lord of the Rings. I mean,
Star
Wars. So it doesn't get any older or better than that. So.
But that's where I'm like, I don't know that the kids care about that identity.
They probably don't care about the older IPs. And I mean, this is going to sound, I haven't really said a whole lot because anything I really say is just going to sound like, okay, boomer.
No, it's valuable.
I get that. But, like I gave this, the kid at my work that has been doing salads for us, I gave him a book by Bourdain, Kitchen Confidential, which is kind of a classic view of the way chef life was back when he was growing up. And he recently killed himself. Not recently.
Oh, I thought
a few years.
I thought you were talking about the kid.
Bourdain.
Like, wow.
Wow.
That book was.
Yeah, that book was pretty bad. I probably shouldn't have lent that to him. I think. The cops are here. Hold on. We need to talk to you, Shiloh. But anyway, I lent him this book. It's like a 300-page book, and he gave it back to me. And he's like, I didn't realize it was so long. I'm like, what?
It's
like
300
pages. I'm like, 300 pages? Yeah, I can give you my copy of Moby Dick. You can try to read that. How about that? So I was just like, oh, boy, just kids these days, and just kind of want to hit my head on the table. But, the thing with the attention span and the instant gratification, the only thing that I worry about with this is we already struggle in our current MMO market and current live service game market with free to play. How bad do you think that is going to affect, this type of generational, because nothing screams more free to play grab than people with low attention spans.
Yep.
They want instant gratification.
I mean, Fortnite's free to play. Basically everything, all the stuff I've talked about is all free to play. Now, like getting us, like I have a Padme.
I mean, not free to play, but pay to win. I mean, nothing screams.
Nothing's pay to win. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that's interesting is like games that are geared for kids, like the big ones like Roblox and Fortnite, like none of it is pay to win. So across the entire gamut of game development, the whole pay to win thing is the big evil. Like, but there's, pay for convenience and then things get muddied. But Fortnite doesn't have any, like Fortnite's money is entirely in its battle pass and its cosmetics. And I mean, when they can put out a Marshall Mathers, aka Eminem skin, and it comes out and then I go and play a match and I see like 5 people in that first match with that skin, like they made their money, and they knew what they were doing. And so it's like the hard part I think we would have is that like you and I pay subscriptions for MMOs. And we've been doing it for decades and we're going to continue doing it. And that's, we know that. But like a kid is not going to go and be like, yes, I want to spend $15 a month so I can play World of Warcraft. I want to spend $15 a month to play Elder Scrolls Online. And, so that's why originally, like when we were first getting into Guild Wars 2.
But they did before Fortnite.
They did. But that was us, or that was me when I was that age. And I wonder now, like with not even just Fortnite, but with the idea of like free to play games and then cosmetics being the way the game makes money, if we're going to see more of that in the next iteration of Ashes, or not Ashes, but the next iteration of MMO, which would include Ashes and PAX Day and the Riot MMO and stuff.
You won't see it in PAX Day, but
no, that's true.
Man, I doubt you see it in the Lotro MMO.
Well, it's Amazon though.
Huh?
It's Amazon.
So we'll see about that. But,
anyway. Yeah. What were you going to say?
I hope that the future of old school MMOs just kind of continues on, and that the two can kind of coexist. We have this whole grouping of what I would call a more meta version of gaming, which would be this Fortnite model. Yeah. And you might see that in other properties too. You might see someone else try to pull this off, and like WoW, they may fail and fall flat on their face when they're trying to compete with Fortnite.
I could see them doing it. I could see WoW being the one that does it. Blizzard goes and creates a sort of hub where from that hub you can go into WoW, or you could go play Hearthstone, Overwatch. Or you could go play Overwatch or whatever else. Yeah. Just go into Call of Duty. I could see them doing that.
Torrent into COD.
Because I feel like it's one, they've already done that with COD, where they've got Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3 now, plus Black Ops and the Warzone.
I could see it with Blizzard. I could also see it with Riot.
Yeah.
But I can't really see it other than that. But, I just hope that the MMOs that I generally will play, and let's just be honest, I'll probably stick to my old MMOs or the new iterations, and that's what I'm hoping, is that we get some new iterations, we get some new blood. And with Baldur's Gate 3 that was just released this year, last year we had Elden Ring. With those two games in particular, I hope that MMOs kind of learn from, especially Elden Ring, and that we see more games that kind of take that with a little bit more soulsy feel to the combat, and then and especially with the exploration of that game, and no quest markers. Basically, everything is almost kind of hidden and kind of revert back to old school. And so you have this kind of, you have the new school with the meta. You have maybe some old school, newer games that are bringing back some of these things. You're like, oh yeah, that was a really cool way to do that. That was a different spin on the quote unquote the traditional RPG thing, which would hit a quest marker, get a quest, go do that quest. It was completely different than anything like that had ever really been done. So other than the older school, MMOs, which like EverQuest and stuff, it didn't really have any of that. It was just go to the NPC and try to follow along with whatever they're saying, then remember it and go do that thing.
Write it down in an actual piece of paper.
Write it down in your EverQuest journal. Yeah. So, I mean, and there's a lot to be said about that. And of course, now we have guides and we have YouTube and we have, so you didn't have any of that in the old school EverQuest days. But so it's a little easier now. And it was a little easier to navigate through Elden Ring with, some guides and people putting out some information once you could kind of get a hold of that and be like, okay, I think I can maybe do this now and not get stuck trying to hit the golden knight at the very beginning of the game and getting stonewalled over and over and over and over and over again. But I mean, I think it's a valid point. I think you have, at first glance when I read this, it just kind of was like, ugh.
I know.
He's just trying to piss me off.
No, because it's a hard pill for me to swallow too. Because though I enjoy Fortnite, it's like it's hard to deny. That was the thing I think that was getting me mad. Was like, he's probably right, but I just get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.
You sent me the GIF of Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, classic.
So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's a hard pill for me to swallow because at the end of the day, what I want in an MMO, and we're going to do an episode next year, probably a few episodes in a row, on the perfect MMO for us. We did one of these with GG Party Chat, and the interesting thing is I know that I've kind of changed my opinion on a lot of that stuff now, like that I've played, because at the time I'd only really played like ESO and RuneScape and New World. And so now that I've played the big ones, WoW, Guild Wars 2, Final Fantasy 14, I've played some SWTOR, all this, I've got my opinions have shifted. So we'll do an episode on the perfect MMO for us. But that's the hard part about this, is that like I want, like for instance, the Riot MMO. It's in a beloved world of Runeterra. I want like the modern day World of Warcraft out of that game. I don't know if I'm going to get it. I don't know if Riot's going to instead pivot and make the move that I think would probably make the most sense, which is come up with some sort of version of what Fortnite is doing, but in Runeterra. I could see that. I could see Riot being the next one to make an MMO that people like us, it isn't exactly what we're asking for, but then again, Riot is there to try to get that younger generation to jump in and be on board with this. So maybe we need the designation of like what Fortnite is in the most basic is like an MMO, which is a metaverse multiplayer online game. And what we want is the old school MMO RPG, because that RPG element is very important to what we look for in MMO. So we'll probably circle back to this at some point, because I mean, this conversation's not going to be done. We're watching Fortnite evolve into this, phenom of IP collaboration, and I don't know. Well, this Lego thing just blows my mind. So I'm waiting to see what that's like. But it's time. When this episode releases, listener, It'll be a few days. If you're listening on release date, it's a few days before the Game Awards 2023. We're going to go through and give you our votes and then what we think will win for each of the categories on the Game Awards website. Now, you can go vote. I don't know if you can vote at the time of listening to this episode, but for Shiloh, you could go vote for your own tonight, and it counts towards the fan vote if that matters to you. But what we're going to do is...
They don't factor that in. It's just
no,
like...
it does, but it's only like
does?
10%. Yeah.
Oh.
So, I mean, it's the whole... Every vote counts. But what what we're going to do is start from the end and work our way to the front, which is the game of the year. Because the end has a bunch of categories that we don't care about. So to start, let's kick this thing off. We've got... Best Esports Event, recognizing an event across single or multiple days that delivered a best-of-class experience for participants and the broadcast audience. These are your nominees: 2023 League of Legends World Championship, Blast.tv Paris Major 2023, Evo 2023, the International Dota 2 Championships 2023, and the Valorant Champions 2023. My vote's for the League of Legends one, and simply because I know Tempest watched it with his brother and sent me a picture of him eating Korean fried chicken while watching it. That's why
That sounds good. I'll go with that, just for Korean fried chicken. That sounds pretty good.
There you go. Okay, next up. And of course, like as we get closer to Game of the Year, some of these will be a little more... we'll have more to say.
We'll have more to say.
Yeah. Best Esports Coach. The Esports Coach judged to be the most outstanding for performance and conduct in 2023. Christine Potter Chi, Danny Zonic Sorensen, and I'm not going to list the games that they're a part of, whatever. Jordan Gunba Graham, Remy XTQZZZ Cunium, and then Yan Home Sung Young. I'm going to vote entirely based on photo here. And so I'm giving it to...
You have photos?
Well, because I'm looking at the actual site for this.
Oh, okay.
So Christine Potter is holding up a trophy, which means they must have won. So based on that alone... she would get my vote. Plus, it's Valorant, which is a Riot game, so whatever.
Yeah, you don't want to go with Yoon Ham Sung Young from League of Legends?
Well, keep it... the picture of him looks like one of the guys from Final Fantasy Dad of Light. Like, the guy in the office that's talking to the main character about, yeah.
That's him?
That's what he looks like, kind of.
Let's vote for him.
So, let's take that.
All right, we'll go for him.
Cool. Next category, Best Esports Team, recognizing a specific esports team, not the full organization, judged the most outstanding for performance and conduct in 2023. We've got Evil Geniuses for Valorant, Fnatic, spelled FNATIC for Valorant. I'm not voting for them because of that.
No, I don't like that either.
Gaiman Gladiators, which is kind of spelled like Neil Gaiman, and they're for Dota 2.
Except with... Yeah.
JD Gaming, which is League of Legends, and Team Vitality Counter-Strike. I would vote for JD Gaming because that's the ones, I think, who won the League of Legends Worlds that Tempest watched and the fried chicken thing.
Oh, and that's who homie here.
Yeah.
So
you're keeping it in the family if you vote for that.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I am from Tennessee.
And when we get to the later categories, we probably will have an opinion on who we think will actually win. I literally do not care about these.
No.
More power to them for being a category and everything, but like I don't watch esports. I don't know if I'm just not the target audience or what, or if it's a younger kids thing, whatever. I don't know. Best esports athlete. There's a lot here.
Athletes in quotations.
Esports athlete judged to be the most outstanding for performance and conduct in 2023, irrespective of game. We've got Lee Faker, Sang Hyuk, Matthew Zaiwu Herbat, Max Demon Mazanov, Paco Hydra Rusevez, Park Ruler Jaehyuk, Philip Imperial Hall Dosen. Again, if we keep it in the family, Lee Faker, he was one of the key ones for this whole League of Legends. He's on that JD team, whatever. As far as I understand it. Based on what they're wearing, he does have both Faker and Ruler have the thin wireframe circular glasses like the Beatles. All these other guys aren't. They just look like esports people. So, all right, Faker wins, of course.
Sure. All
right, we're getting into some substance now. So, best esports game. For the game that has delivered the best overall esports experience to players, inclusive of tournaments, community support, and content updates. Counter-Strike 2 by Valve. Dota 2 by Valve. League of Legends by Riot. PUBG Mobile. I never knew who made this. Lightspeed, Krafton, Level Infinite, whatever. Or Valorant from Riot. I have played none of those games. I've played... No, that's PUBG Mobile, too. So that's getting out of here. I don't believe in mobile games, in my opinion.
So use PUBG.
So for me, my pick would either be League of Legends or Counter-Strike 2. What about you?
Yep. I'm going to quote an old friend of mine, FPS Doug, when I say, boom, head strike. We're going with Counter-Strike 2, baby.
Headshot, but good.
I don't
Boom. Someone has that in a Discord server we're in, so you could play that on the soundboard, I found.
Yeah.
That's fun. I'm going to go League of Legends.
That may be me.
Simply because of Worlds and that whole nonsense again. Okay.
All right.
This might be the last one that we just don't care about, and that's Content Creator of the Year, which is us. We're not nominated, but I'm choosing us because my other options are Iron Mouse, People Make Games, Quackity,
Yeah, they do.
Spreen, and Cypher PK. In reality, I picked Cypher PK because that's literally the only one I've ever heard of.
Sounds good. I like Spreen because it's like spleen, but different.
There you go. All right. Okay. Now this is where we get into the good stuff again. So, most anticipated game. Recognizing an announced game that has demonstrably illustrated potential to push the gaming medium forward. We have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth by Square Enix, Hades 2 by Supergiant Games, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Ryuga Gotoku Studio, Star Wars Outlaws, which is Ubisoft, or Tekken 8, which is Bandai Namco. What do you pick?
Hellblade 2. Oh, wait, it's not on this list. Star Wars Outlaws. I don't think it'll win.
Yeah. Which one do you think will win?
Probably Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But I don't really know.
I think you're right. That's my vote because Final Fantasy VII was like one of the biggest games of like the late 90s. I think it was late 90s, right? Originally.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Like personally, like I am excited for Star Wars Outlaws, but like this one I'm like 90% sure it's Final Fantasy VII's going to get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Best adaptation, recognizing outstanding creative work that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game to another entertainment medium. We have Castlevania Nocturne, which looks to be a anime. We have the Gran Turismo movie. We've got The Last of Us TV show. We've got the Super Mario Bros. Movie. And then we've got the Twisted Metal movie. Or maybe it was a show. Don't know. What's your vote?
Oh, Last of Us for sure. I still have yet to see it, but I want to. And so that says something because I have no desire to see anything else on this list. So
I have seen the Super Mario Bros. Movie like 3 times. I have
that was
kids.
Pretty good.
It was
kids,
very good. It gets my
better
vote.
than that, what was that one? That live act. live
Oh
action one
God,
that
from the
came out.
80s.
Yeah. Oh God.
Definitely was better.
I try to
than
forget that.
So the Super Mario Bros. Movie gets my vote because it was very good. It had all the elements that you'd expect, like all the nostalgia callbacks, all that. I do kind of think you're right that The Last of Us is probably going to win. It will. Out of all these here, it's easily going to be between those two, the Super Mario Bros. Movie and Last of Us show. So, I suppose we will see. Okay, moving on. We have Best Multiplayer. For outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences. The irony in this is that none of these are MMOs. So we've got Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo 4, Party Animals, Street Fighter 6, or Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I know what you're voting for. Yeah.
Actually, you don't. I have not picked up this game, but I recently watched a video from an old Destiny 2 guy, Fallout.
Okay.
And he was basically putting this game up on a pedestal saying, you guys need to download this game because it is the most fun I've had in a long time. And that's Party Animals. And it looked like a lot of fun. It looked like a good, fun party game with like the ragdoll physics. And I guess it's similar to Fall Guys, but it's just, you play as a stuffed dog and, your buddy plays as a stuffed pig and you just kind of go around this map and do funny things and hit each other with frying pans and all sorts of other things. And it just looked like a lot of fun. Baldur's Gate 3 would have gotten my vote. And I think that game does have very good multiplayer. Mm-hmm. But I think the game itself lends better as a single player game. So it's hard for me to really vote. Although, I guess since I really haven't played Party Animals yet, and I have played Diablo 4, and I don't care about fighting games, and I don't own a Switch. So I'm kind of limited on this, and I probably wouldn't give it to Diablo 4. I would probably give it to Party Animals or Baldur's Gate 3. I guess I'll have to go with Baldur's Gate 3 because it is the only one that I've really played that I actually enjoyed. That I enjoyed the most. So this is one of two categories I think Baldur's Gate 3 would likely lose. And I was thinking Diablo 4 because the design of the game is really built with multiplayer in mind. But then, like, the thing with Nintendo games is they just come out of left field. Like, Super Mario Bros. Wonder is a very highly praised game. And it's fully cooperative, like 4 players I think online, but certainly couch co-op, which is always a huge, plus. I've not heard of Party Animals, really. And Street Fighter 6 is good, but, like, I don't know. Yeah. So my vote would be Diablo 4. I think it's like this Super one. I just Mario, don't know. I bet Super Mario Brothers Wonder could win that one.
Yeah, this like one I have no idea who I think would actually win. Like, of course, I think Baldur's Gate 3 has a good chance because the multiplayer is very well integrated and a ton of fun. Importantly here, like if you read the tagline, like outstanding gameplay and design, including co-op and massive multiplayer experiences. Unless Party Animals is massive, the rest of these are like limited to like a few people in your party. So I don't know. Whatever. My vote is Diablo 4, but I think any one of these could win it. So we'll see. Best sports / racing. For the best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing games, we've got FIFA. I think that's FIFA, right? EA Sports FC 24. They changed the name or something to FC. Well, if it's not a FIFA game.
FIFA? No.
That's soccer.
Oh. Football club. Yeah, I guess.
Did they change
maybe they
the
did.
name?
Maybe, I don't know.
Anyway, a soccer game,
Yeah.
F123, Forza Motorsport, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged, and the Crew Motorfest. You have any opinion?
Nope.
My vote is Forza Motorsport.
Sounds good.
I think, obviously, the football game is always going to have a chance to win. Motorsport's a really good game, though. And I guess, like, the Crew and Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 could come out of left field because I've not played either of those. The F123 game, like, the F1 games are fun, but they're aimed at people who like Formula One. So if you like Formula One, you will enjoy it. I don't know that it's the best iteration. I feel like 21 was pretty good. I think that was the one before they added the extra car. Maybe it was 22. I don't know. But Forza Motorsport is a really solid racing game, and it's Xbox's answer to Gran Turismo. So no idea which one will win there. Best sim/strategy game. Best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay. We've got Advanced Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, which I believe, I mean, it's in the name, I think, but I don't know enough. But I think it's a remake or whatever, a remaster. We've got Cities Skylines 2. We've got Company of Heroes, Fire Emblem Engage, and Pikmin 4.
I'm going to go with Cities Skylines 2 just because I know it recently came out. Sometimes
and Jeff likes it, and he's an influencer.
Jeff likes it. He's an influencer. So there you go. That's all that needs to be said. So
with Shiloh, one of our good friends, Jeff, likes Cities Skylines 2. So does Sonny, for that matter, another good friend of ours. That would get my vote. As far as who would win, I literally know not enough about any of the other ones to know.
Don't really know.
Best family game. For the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform, we've got Disney Illusion Island, Party Animals, Pikmin 4, Sonic Superstars, or Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I didn't know that they made Disney Illusion Island. I might have to look into that for my kids. Super Mario Bros. Wonder gets my vote. I think it'll win. It's Mario. It came out the year that the Mario Bros. Movie came out and made huge waves. Kids are, like, young kids, not the Fortnite kids, young kids are all on board with Mario this year. We did Mario for our office Halloween party. All the costumes were, like, sold out. My vote's Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Sure, that sounds good.
But I'm going to have to look up Party Animals now because, it's nominated,
it's on
twice
Game Pass, now? But it's not on Game Pass for PC. It's kind of weird.
It's always weird. But
yeah.
Cities Skylines 2 was that same thing, but reverse. It was on Game Pass for PC, but not Xbox. So, okay. Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Yeah. Remnant 2, speaking of that, Remnant 2 and the original Remnant are on Game Pass.
Which is a great game. Listener, you should play it if you have Game Pass, and you haven't.
I haven't played the first one, but yeah.
Yeah. Best fighting. For the best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat, we've got God of Rock. Well, that looks cool. Mortal Kombat 1, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, Pocket Bravery, and Street Fighter 6. I feel like
I'll go with Street Fighter 6 because I liked Street Fighter when I was a kid.
Yep. I'm going to go with that too. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 appears to be a non-Nintendo answer to Super Smash Brothers. Like there's SpongeBob, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Aang from Avatar, Danny Phantom, the dad from the Wild Thornberries, also Garfield. So, whatever.
You get an array of
wild characters. So I don't know. I've never played it. I'll have to look into it.
Yeah. Alanis Morissette, you can play as her.
Wouldn't that be... Maybe in Fortnite, it wouldn't surprise me. They put like all these... Is she dead? She died, right?
She's not dead.
Who's the one that died that was... Are you sure? I think she might have.
know.
Now that... Man, I'm sorry. I hope I'm not...
Well, I just know that she got her start on Nickelodeon, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm making that up.
No clue.
I don't know.
This category is the real deal here. Best RPG for the best game design with rich player character customization and progression, including massive multiplayer experiences. Again, none of these are MMOs. I had to double take because I saw Final Fantasy. Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Lies of P, Sea of Stars, Starfield. I have played every single one of these games except for Final Fantasy 16 because I don't own a PlayStation.
We all know it.
We all know who will get this. This is one where I would be shocked if Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't win this. Even if it wins Game of the Year, I would still be shocked if it doesn't win this. I don't know much about Final Fantasy 16. I think Starfield is likely the next option here. Lies of P is a good game. It's more Souls-like, and you are it is role playing. And Sea of Stars is one of the best JRPGs of the modern era. But I mean, you're like role playing game, tabletop, like Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't like. If it loses, this will be an upset in the highest order. So I expect it to win. It gets
I will
my vote.
smash something terrible.
I will go outside and smash dandelions.
Someone else's car with my fist.
Oh, goodness. That kid who wouldn't.
I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that.
No, I'm just kidding. No, you're not targeting this kid that you work with because he wouldn't read your book. We're not putting him on blast. So
yeah, no, I will not beat him up at work.
Best
because Baldur's Gate 3 does not win the best RPG.
Best action adventure. For the best action adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving, we've got Alan Wake 2, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, or The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
You know, of this list, I think I would probably... I want to play Alan Wake 2 at some point.
Right there with you.
So that would get my vote. But what I think is going to win is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
I think it will win too. Spider-Man 2, I've not played Alan Wake 2. It is very highly praised. I don't think Star Wars Jedi Survivor has a chance because the game was just an absolute buggy mess at launch. Though it does fit action adventure game, traversal, puzzle solving. It fits that very well. It's very good with those elements. But I think it's going to be either Spider-Man 2 or Tears of the Kingdom. I would vote Tears of the Kingdom in this case. Also because I'm not voting for it for Game of the Year. But we'll get there. Okay. Best action game. For the best game in the action genre focused primarily on combat, we've got Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, or Remnant 2.
I've only played Remnant 2 out of this list.
Yep.
Oddly enough, I think, and that would probably get my vote just because of that. But personally, I think that Hi-Fi Rush might actually win this.
I think it might as well. Remnant 2 would get my vote. And I know that people love Armored Core, and of course that's from Software, so, Dark Souls. But Dead Island 2 didn't make a huge splash. Ghost Runner 2... didn't even know that was a game until I saw this list for the first time. Hi-Fi Rush was... I played some of that. It's a good game. There's another category that is... I think it's going to win for sure coming up. Well, maybe one or two, but... I want Remnant 2 to win this because I want Remnant 2 to get some accolade for literally releasing the week before Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
But I think it's likely it'll be Hi-Fi Rush. So, best VR/AR. I don't have any sort of egg in this
Moving on.
basket. But the options are Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Call of the Mountain, Humanity, Resident Evil Village VR mode, and Synapse. I'm going to vote for Horizon Call of the Mountain because Horizon.
Cool.
No idea who would win this. So,
Nope.
moving on. Another one we can likely skip. Best mobile game for the best game playable on a mobile device. You've got Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, Hello Kitty Island Adventure, that's
Yay.
Shiloh's vote, Honkai Star Rail, Monster Hunter Now, Terra Nil. My gut instinct was that it would be the Final Fantasy VII game, but then I think Monster Hunter Now is like isn't that the Pokemon Go version Monster Hunter game?
Sure. I don't know.
It must be because it's by Niantic, which is the same company that did Pokemon Go or does Pokemon Go.
Okay.
That would get my vote. I don't care who wins.
Sure. Yep. All right.
Best debut indie game. So we've got Cocoon, which I remember seeing on the Xbox showcases once upon a time. Mm-hmm. We've got Dredge, Pizza Tower, Venba, or Viewfinder. My vote would be Dredge because I've seen some gameplay footage of that and it's kind of like what was that, Spirit Fair, which I know we didn't like, but it's more like fishing oriented, maybe. I don't know. The other option is Cocoon, which is by Annapurna Interactive, which did Stray, among other things. Mm-hmm. The others,
I'll go with Cocoon. I don't know.
The others, I have no clue. I've
heard of that, so we'll go with that.
There you go. Best independent game, you're going to see a lot of the same. So Cocoon, Dave the Diver, Dredge, Sea of Stars, Viewfinder. You're going to go with, are you going to double down on the Cocoon?
Sure, okay. I guess. Yeah.
My vote would be Sea of Stars, and it's outstanding. I do think Dave the Diver is going to win because I think the last I saw that game was like overwhelmingly positive on Steam with a ton of reviews. Like people love that game. Never played it. Don't know anything about it other than that. But
okay,
there you go. Best community support. We've got Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, No Man's Sky. I think Baldur's Gate 3.
It's gotta win.
If Destiny 2 wins this, that is
I'm going
damn
outside
lie.
and I'm punching it. Yeah,
Because
punching a car.
People were like crucifying Bungie over this last expansion, plus the layoffs, and there's no way the best, like Destiny 2's community support, they don't have anybody on their team anymore. So Final Fantasy 14 though, like I don't know,
it's like, other than they make announcements and Yoshi P is pretty personable, and does stuff, but I don't know. I just don't see it. Baldur's Gate 3, I think, has to win this. And the same with CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk. Like, community support, I don't... Okay, sure. Well, I don't know much about No Man's Sky and what they deal with, but you almost have to be a live service game to even really be considered this. And Cyberpunk 2077 is certainly not a live service game.
It's not even a multiplayer either. The little blurb says, recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusion of social media activity and game updates patches. This is why I think BG3 gets it, because they've put out hundreds, if not thousands, of bug fixes since the game launched in August. Not to mention...
I mean, before that with early access. Yeah.
Right. They just put out an update that is an epilogue to the game now. So when you beat the game, there are like a good 20 to 30 minutes of cutscenes or something, and maybe dialogue options intermingled there. But now there's an extra. I don't know how much, but it's 6 months later after the end of the game. You meet back up with your party in the camp and have all these dialogue and cutscenes with them. They recorded new dialogue that the voice actors did. And so I think it's Baldur's Gate 3. Cyberpunk 2077 did a good job of fixing their game, and so it's finally at a place now where I think people are very happy with it. Destiny 2's I just don't see it. Maybe Final Fantasy 14. No Man's Sky has been around forever. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
We're going to give it to Baldur's Gate 3.
Best ongoing, awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. I purposefully read this for one of the games on this list. Apex Legends, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, or Genshin Impact. Now, I think I want to give this to Cyberpunk 2077 for completely fixing the game. Renovate, whatever. But like, after all I just mentioned and the way they're pushing the game now, like, I feel like Fortnite's the only option. Maybe Final Fantasy 14 because they are bringing out Dawn Trail. But like, Fortnite is quite literally evolving the player experience over time. It's between those two for me, or those three really. And I wouldn't be mad if any one of those three won. Yeah, I'd be a little upset if Apex won, because
I'd say if Fortnite's probably going to win that. I just don't. Best ongoing game with 2077. I don't get that, but
I think it's just because the game launched meh or buggy, whatever, and then they've fixed it in several patches over the last few years.
Yeah, but that's not because the game was intended really to do that. Like, that's because fair. They messed up.
That's fair. Like, but then Phantom Liberty. I mean, a lot of people have loved that expansion. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
I'm not saying anything bad about it. Just seems like a very odd category to be. Actually, the past two categories, best community support and best ongoing game, are just kind of like, okay, but whatever.
Okay.
All right.
Games for Impact. I don't think I've played any of these. Space for the Unbound, Chance of Sinar, Goodbye Volcano High, Tchia, Terranil, and Venba.
I have no idea. Well, I don't even know what Games for Impact. What does that mean?
For a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. I haven't played any of these.
Okay.
I haven't. I would vote for Goodbye Volcano High because I think out of all these, it's the only one on my wish list on Steam, and I think it's there because it said like games you've played, and then like games you own, and then Life is Strange was there. And I was like, oh, all right, there you go. I loved Life is Strange, so
sure, that'll get my vote as well.
No clue which one will get it. Innovation in accessibility. This is where... Okay, so recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. Diablo 4, no clue how they met this thing. But
I heard they did a good job with it, but okay. I don't know.
Forza Motorsport, I've played it. No idea. Hi-Fi Rush... Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Mortal Kombat 1, or Street Fighter 6. This is one of the other ones that I think Hi-Fi Rush has a chance to win because they made you do combat on beat with the song, and they made it very accessible. But then, if I recall correctly, there are a lot of like options for making it easier for people who aren't that good at it. Yeah, I don't know anything about the others and how they met this, but fascinating.
Yeah, sure.
Here
Sounds
we go.
Good.
Best performance awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion, and or performance capture. We've got Ben Starr from Final Fantasy 16. We've got Cameron Monaghan, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Idris Elba, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty. Melanie LeBird, Alan Wake 2, Neil Newbin, Baldur's Gate 3, or Yuri Lowenthal Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Asterion was fantastic the entire way through BG3. Neil gets my vote. Easy. Yep. I've heard Idris Elba did great in Phantom Liberty, and a lot of people praised Ben Starr in Final Fantasy 16. But like, Neil literally became Asterion. He did exceptionally well.
Yes. That gets my vote as well.
Okay. Best audio design, recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. We've got Alan Wake 2, Dead Space, Hi-Fi Rush, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, or Resident Evil 4. I didn't know did they remaster that or something? They must have.
Yeah, I think they did.
I mean, Hi-Fi Rush is a game literally centered around audio. So.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I haven't played it yet. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about, like I said, combat is done to the beat of the music.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I could see that winning again.
I kind of would be interested to see if Alan Wake 2 wins that, just because, I mean, Control, had really neat audio, and one of my favorite sequences in any video game ever is in Control and centered around audio, so I don't know. I could see Hi-Fi Rush or Alan Wake 2 getting it. I don't really know about the others, though. Likewise, best score and music. For outstanding music inclusive of score, original song, and or licensed soundtrack, we've got Alan Wake 2, composer Petri Alenko, Baldur's Gate 3, composer Borislav Slavov, Final Fantasy 16, composer Masayoshi Soken, Hi-Fi Rush, audio director Suichi Kobori, and Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, composed by Nintendo Sound Team.
Yo, we're the Nintendo Sound Team.
This is the other one I think Baldur's Gate 3 won't win, because the music was great, the score was great, but they use the down, down, down by the river motif like everywhere in the game. All over the place, all the time. And it wasn't bad, and I never felt like, okay, I'm sick of hearing this. But I will say that I recognized it all over the place. And so while it was good, I think it's going to be either 16, Hi-Fi Rush, or Alan Wake 2.
That sounds,
I guess,
perfectly feasible. I have no idea.
Did you like the score in BG3, like the music?
I did, but yeah, I completely agree. It was a little like, oh, it's this song again. Oh, it's this song again. Oh.
30 minutes later. Oh, yes, that guy's humming.
Yeah. I mean, considering you play, I've been playing, and I'm not even done yet for 100+ hours, so
yeah,
hear quite a bit.
And there's other music too, like battles and whatever. But
yeah. But most of the game is actually spent on the road, or getting from point A to point B, or in your bags, or figuring something out, or so
best art direction. For outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation, we've got Alan Wake 2, we've got Hi-Fi Rush, we've got Lies of P, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Any opinion, Shiloh?
I don't really have an actual opinion, because I haven't really played any of these games. I played a little bit of Lies of P. It
just looked like more Souls-like to me. Like, it was cool, and I think Hi-Fi Rush would be my vote.
Yeah, and Alan Wake 2 seems like it'd be just a little too
realistic, right?
Too realistic, yeah.
Maybe that they count that, or I guess it's achievement in animation as well. I just don't see like Super Mario Bros. Getting it, just because
maybe Zelda. I don't know.
I think
maybe Hi-Fi Rush. Yeah, it might be.
It's got that comic book style, and it's done pretty well, in my opinion. But oops, I clicked the wrong button there. Okay, we're getting to the end here. We've got Best Narrative for Outstanding Storytelling and Narrative Development in a Game. We've got Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty, Final Fantasy 16, Marvel's Spider-Man 2. I don't know how Baldur's Gate 3 wouldn't win this. It's
Yeah, it should. I can't. The only other game I could see maybe sneaking it out with this, it may be Cyberpunk 2077, but I haven't played Phantom Liberty, so I don't really know.
It's just, I mean, like,
but that seems like such a small little snippet of that entire Cyberpunk game that it would be hard to compete with Baldur's Gate 3.
yeah.
And a lot of the game is so good because of the narrative. So it's like, well, I don't see how you not give this to Baldur's Gate 3.
That's my vote. That's what I think will win. Best Game Direction. A lot of the same. Alan Wake, and this is ordered for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction design. We've got Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. I think, again, this is a Baldur's Gate 3 one. I know that Spider-Man 2 is different than the first Spider-Man and the Miles Morales one, little expansion. But, like, it's still just more Spider-Man. Alan Wake 2 is, I think they went full-blown horror with this one rather than the first game. So that, I don't know, that could be interesting. Super Mario Bros. Wonder did add, I mean, this is Mario, so, like, the formula's been the same since the 80s. But they did add some features, including, like, RPG elements where you can update your, like, these effects that you would have while you're doing stuff, going through levels. So I could see them. I could see it getting, maybe has a chance. And I think Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has a shot because of the way they implemented their, like, I don't know what it's called, but you can, like, combine pots and crates and, like, elements of the world to make these, like, machinations that can do things. Or even, like, people have made, like, straight up, like, moving vehicles in the game because of this. And this is on the Switch, which is, like, they're, like, slightly bigger than the SD cards you put in your phone. So of all the ones here, like, all of these have a chance. I think Baldur's Gate 3 would get my vote, especially coming off of Baldur's Gate 2, which is entirely different than what Baldur's Gate 3 is. But we are Baldur's Gate 3 fans, so
if you didn't get the memo.
And we finally arrive at the big one, Game of the Year. Recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. You've got Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Let's start this way. I do not see Resident Evil 4 getting this at all. There's no way. Super Mario Bros. Wonder, no way. So then that leaves 4 that I think have a chance. If I was to remove another one, it'd probably be Spider-Man 2. Because, again, it's more of the same concept. So then you're left with Alan Wake 2, Tears of the Kingdom, and Baldur's Gate 3. I feel like Alan Wake 2 is, popular, good game. But it's just, it's very linear in what it's doing. Which then leaves the 2. Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate 3. We know what we would vote for. In what way, Shiloh, do you think you could see Tears of the Kingdom getting this? If you have an opinion of that variety. Like, why would it? How could it beat out Baldur's Gate 3?
Kind of the we left you out of the other categories, so here's game of the year. That sort of thing.
I hope they wouldn't do that.
The pity party award. I don't know. I wouldn't think so. There's a lot of talk that Harry Potter got left out in the cold,
Yep.
and I didn't realize how left out in the cold they got left. I mean, they got left out in the cold, and I know there's a lot of people say like, well, you shouldn't release a game early in the year. That's why sometimes games are kind of early in the year. But Hi-Fi Rush came out early,
and it got a lot
this year.
Elden Ring
votes.
got released in February of 2022.
Yeah, and it won Game of the Year. So, I don't know why Harry Potter got left out. I don't know if it's because of some political
I think it is
BS. I don't know.
In fact, they didn't get nominated for anything, did it?
I've heard it's a
Hogwarts
good
Legacy.
game. I don't personally care about the Harry Potter universe at all, but I recognize that game actually did look good and looked like fun and was pretty highly touted. And so it's kind of sad that they didn't get any kind of... I mean, I don't necessarily mean that it needs to be voted in Game of the Year, but any of these categories, seems like you could have put them in, well, maybe not certain ones, but like best sports game and best
art direction,
esports game,
score and music,
art direction,
audio
or something.
design.
But yeah, I don't see how you not put Baldur's Gate 3 as Game of the Year. One of my neighbors is again getting their car punched in. So.
Yeah,
I don't care that much, honestly, people. But I mean, it would be kind of sad to see Baldur's Gate 3 not win this award. With all the effort that it's the only game that I've been following where I've actually followed the developers, and I got into early access and have been following it because it is a beloved franchise and dear to my heart, with playing Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, which obviously I don't think it ever... I don't know. They might have won some awards, but...
And all the other Dungeons and Dragons stuff.
Yeah, all the other gold box games and stuff. This would be like our crowning moment of nerds who could raise our fist to the sky and be like, yay!
See, that's where I'm like, of all these games, like, looking at these 6 nominees for Game of the Year, like, only one of these games is a game I could see being talked about and compared to in 10 years' time. And that's Baldur's Gate 3. Legend of Zelda, maybe internally, so inside its own ecosystem, like the next Zelda game is going to be compared to Tears of the Kingdom. But the interesting thing about that is I think more people consider it like a package with Breath of the Wild, because Breath of the Wild was the first to do this. And so while Tears of the Kingdom was a good game, when 10 years from now people talk about Legend of Zelda, they're going to be like, yes, Breath of the Wild was the one that started this. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is another good entry in a very long line of Mario games. But it's not like the Mario 64, which was
Innovative,
the big one, because it was the first 3D one, right? Resident Evil 4, I'm pretty sure that's a remake. So
yeah,
anyway,
go figure. That's like where Harry Potter at least maybe could have been. Like, you take out Resident Evil 4 and put Harry Potter,
or even Starfield. And
Starfield fans have been like, why about Starfield? I don't know, but I get that too. Like
Starfield was
one vote,
was a very
nomination.
good one, and it was the RPG, and there's no way it beats out Baldur's Gate 3 for that.
Like, that's like, well, we'll throw you in there, but good luck, kid.
Yeah. It's like throwing your 10-year-old son into a college wrestling tournament. Like, he might be big, but he's just not developed. And then Marvel Spider-Man 2 is the same concept I just said with Legend of Zelda. Like, when people think like good Spider-Man games in 10 years, they're going to think of Spider-Man 1, the Miles Morales expansion, and then this one. Like, it's a package deal. It's like, yep, the Sony's Spider-Mans were great. Alan Wake 2 it's been so long since the first one that maybe, like people, whatever. But
Yeah.
like, this is Baldur's Gate 3, literally the most hyped, or not just hyped, but most like successful game of this year, without a shadow of a doubt. Like, everyone talking about it on all social media. It was the same as Elden Ring. Like, it was the same effect. Elden Ring, when it came out, it was all I saw on Twitter, TikTok, even some Instagram stuff. Baldur's Gate 3, same thing. Like, it's just... I think Baldur's Gate 3 is a bigger game than Elden Ring, but like, we're talking right now, if you had to pick the top 5 games of the decade so far, like Baldur's Gate 3 and Elden Ring are 1 and 2, and I don't think it's a contest. Like, none of these games here outside of BG3, if like, let's say you took out Baldur's Gate 3 for this year and put Elden Ring, I think Elden Ring would beat every single one of these still.
Yeah.
And Baldur's Gate 3 is better. So, I mean, we're kind of beating a dead horse, and of course, we're just two schmucks on the internet who have an opinion. But like, at the same time, like, it just, there's like, it's just, you're not going to see a game like Baldur's Gate 3 in the next few years. Like, there's just no way. You know, there's just nothing coming out from a successful IP that could even do, like, not even Star Wars Outlaws, I don't think, would be able to hit that.
No.
So maybe Witcher 4,
possibly.
Who knows? I don't know. Well, that's all the Game Awards nominees. We'll have to maybe share our thoughts on the next episode, even though it'll be the Christmas episode, with the outcome of this.
A brief little summation of how many cars I punched.
Which is hopefully none, but
yeah, because my fist will be broken.
You won't be able to play games. You have any thoughts on this, Shiloh? The Game Awards, Game of the Year, anything you haven't
I'm
said?
excited. We'll have to watch it as a, what time is it? For 7:30 Eastern.
You're probably working, huh? Is it 7:30 Eastern?
Oh wait, yeah, we'll be working. Darn.
I tell my wife that I'm watching it, so she lets me. She can watch her Bachelor. I want the Game Awards. So, it'll be interesting to see. I think equally interesting with the Game Awards and the actual, like, the winners and stuff is the teasers and world premieres that always happen every year. So that'll be interesting to watch.
See what comes out for that. Looking forward to, maybe we get some glimpses of certain games that might come out next year,
like Fable.
Hellblade 2.
Oh, that too. Fable though.
Yeah, and maybe the announcement for when our Game of the Year, Baldur's Gate 3, comes out for our Xbox buddies. So
yes, I think we will see that at the Game Awards.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll see that.
Yeah. Let's hope Bill Clinton kid doesn't make a reappearance. At this point, I don't know how you don't have security for these events. Like,
yeah, I'm sure they will this year.
They absolutely will. There's going to be certain rows with, like, specific, the people that invited that might win, right? And then everything behind that's going to have security lining it, and you're not getting through there.
Yeah.
Like, after last incident,
they'll have Jamie Foxx there that he can tackle,
or Will Smith, I guess. You just slap
him.
Yeah.
No. Do you remember that when the guy jumped on stage and tried to attack Dave Chappelle, and Jamie Foxx like ran over and tackled the guy?
That's wild.
Pretty wild. Yep.
All right.
That's what they need there. All right.
Well, next episode, we are going to have our friend Jordan on. I confirmed with him today.
All right.
He's going to do an eBay Christmas game for us, like we've done in the past for GG Party Chat. So that'll be fun. It'll probably be streamlined. We'll also talk, again, the results from the Game Awards a bit, but we're just going to have him on and have a good time. There won't be a lot of video game heavy discussion probably outside of the Game Awards, but I think that's kind of to be expected for Christmas. We're just going to have a good time and hang out. And I'm going to probably just drink tea because I didn't tonight, and I'm really feeling it. So... All right. Farewell. May the force be with you. Alonzi. What? Anyone say
Yes.
anything fancy in Lord of the Rings?
Um.
You bow to no one?
Yeah, there you go. You
Peace.
bow to no one. Questing the Multiverse is brought to you in part by Coniff Productions, House Wood Designs, and Joel Crawford. To follow along with our adventures, please follow us on Twitter at QTM Podcast and consider joining our Discord, the link of which can be found in the show notes or in our Twitter bio. Want your questions or comments read on the show? Email us at questingthemultiverse@gmail.com. Finally, if you enjoyed this episode, please consider giving us a review or a follow wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you for listening.